Hello, and thank you for joining me today for a discussion on solar system objects. So we've talked about the planets and the order of the planets. Now we're going to talk about other things in the solar system. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to name and define 4 objects. You'll get more than that, but I want you to be able to do 4 of them found in our solar system other than planets and moons. We're pretty familiar with those. You'll be able to compare and contrast asteroids and comets. So these are 2 words that you could use for the first one. And then you'll be able to explain how meteors, meteorites, and meteoroids are all different. So there's 5 terms here on the first objective sheet that if you can do this, you have your 5 terms, which takes up number 1. All right, let's get started. First, pause the video quick, take 30 seconds. I want you to think of as many objects as you can that occupy our solar system. And so just think and make a list of words. So pause the video. When you're done, I'll give you my list, what we're going to talk about. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, we talked about planets, we kind of talked about moons. These two go together. We're going to talk asteroids, comets, and meteoroids today, along with galaxies, solar systems, stars, stellar nebula, and black holes. So this is going to be today's, these are going to be today's topics. So for starters, asteroids. Heard the word? I'm sure you've heard the word. If not, this is what an asteroid is. It is a small rocky body that orbits the sun. Actually, we should go large rocky body. Asteroids are pretty large. That orbits the sun. Dust particles 600 miles in diameter. Very large pieces of material floating around and flying around the sun. So smaller than a planet, but still pretty big in size. Those are asteroids. Comets. There's actually a comet going by that went by in July this summer that was Neowise. Maybe you got to see it, maybe you didn't, but that is a comet. So a comet is made of rocks, much like asteroids, along with ice and dust. And this ice and dust give comets a tail, and that's what sets them apart. So as they get closer to the sun, and sunlight in general melts that ice, and so that is the tail. The most famous comet we talk about is Halley's Comet. Oops. So Halley's Comet came by in 1986. I don't know when it's set to come back again. It would be a while. But these are comets that have that tail to them. Look kind of like a shooting star. So really quick, think to yourself, how are asteroids and comets different? What's different between those 2 objects? Moving forward, we have meteoroids. Meteoroids and asteroids. And meteoroids are small. These are smaller than asteroids. So meteoroids are usually pieces of an asteroid that orbit around the solar system. In most cases, if meteoroids would enter the atmosphere, they would burn up. Because of friction with the air particles, it'd create enough heat there that they would burn up, and you would see a bunch of lights in the sky. Like a meteor shower is just a bunch of essentially falling stars that are coming down towards you. Most of them burn up before they reach the ground. When they reach the atmosphere and start to burn up, the light portion that's produced is known as a meteor. So the light produced as a meteoroid burns up in the atmosphere is known as a meteor. This is what a meteor shower is, a bunch of streaks of light coming out of the sky. So this is what the Perseid meteor shower look like from the ground. So kind of scary, but most of those pieces will burn up before they hit the surface. And the last one's a meteorite. If a meteoroid is rather large and makes it through the atmosphere and reaches the surface, it's called a meteorite. So the remnants of a meteoroid that managed to reach the Earth's surface is called a meteorite. So if we look at it, this is Earth, you have a meteoroid out in space. This is a really not to scale picture, there's the atmosphere. When it gets to here, you have a meteor, and if it reaches the surface, we call that a meteorite. So that's those 3 terms. And I would like you to think to yourself, how are meteoroids, meteors, and meteorites different? Where do we find each of them? All right, our last little segment. A galaxy. So a galaxy is something that I believe you've heard the word of. If not, we'll talk about it here. But we live in what's known as the Milky Way galaxy. And a galaxy is a collection of millions of stars, all held together by gravity. So at the center of a galaxy is, and we're going to talk about later, but galaxies are held together by gravity, and it's a whole bunch of stars going around the center. There are three kinds. There's an elliptical, which looks almost like a circle here. There's a spiral, which is this galaxy here, looks like a disk. And there's an irregular, which is essentially a large cluster of stars here. Our solar systems, we're talking the solar system as a whole. We are talking about a region of space that our sun and the 8 planets that go around it, including Earth, occupy. So our solar system is found within our galaxy, and our galaxy is called the Milky Way galaxy, but the solar system is inside of or smaller than that galaxy. A stellar nebula, this is what stars form from. So stellar refers to stars, nebula refers to a cloud or a gathering. So these are large clouds of dust and gas, specifically hydrogen and helium, along with plasma that's held together by gravity. And from these, we get particles that move, and eventually they all collide and coalesce in the middle and produce what we know as stars. But that is the stellar nebula. That's how they all begin. So stars, so the aftermath of that is a star, which is a luminous sphere of plasma held together by gravity. So these bright things in the sky are all similar to our sun. Sizes vary, but they are very large. They're just a very long ways away. So these are luminous spheres of plasma held together by gravity that give off light. And that's the luminous part of things. A black hole. This is found at the center of a galaxy. This is what holds a galaxy together. So at the center of our Milky Way galaxy is a black hole. This is a region of space with gravity so strong, so intense, light can't even get out of it, and that's why it's black. And the way that we know about these is because it causes light to actually bend. And we'll talk about this more in class, but you actually see the same, scientists can see the same star in two locations in the sky because it goes around a black hole. All right, here are your last review questions. Make sure you can answer these. If you have questions, please see me. And I look forward to continuing our discussion on astronomy when you return to class.